It's been long since we took a look at the goats on the farm, the goats and the sheep on the farm. So I think today we need to go and take a look and just see how they are doing and update you guys how we are faring along with the goats and the sheep, because you guys already do know that they are my second most favorite things on the farm, yeah? Of course, after the chickens, yeah? The chickens are number one by all means. The goats and the sheep come second. So we need to go and check out exactly how they are doing. They are multiplying very beautifully. And we haven't been having any problems with disease on the farm. So come on, let's go check it out. Okay, so we are going towards the goat area. Meanwhile, you can see this is a kind of store, an improvised store that we made. It just has tarpaulin on the outside and we are using it to store straw on the inside from the maize garden. You guys see the straw I'm talking about, yeah? We have lots of it on the inside and that can be chopped down, broken down, fed to animals, or you can use it as bedding for chickens if need be in emergency situations. Here you can see our chicken house. Guys, by the way, it has been emptied out. I think I'm going to just have to make a separate video about this, but you can see, yeah, of course there's a fine for any non-poultry worker who tries to get into this area, because biosecurity, you understand the importance of it, right? Yeah, and then you can see the trays that we were using to move the birds. Very, very good trays. And you can see that the inside of the place is empty, completely empty. Anyway, that's going to be a separate video, us talking about that. So I'll abandon that for now. We'll get back on track to go check out our goats, yeah? This is the cattle shed, the cattle area. And you can see, we've been using the excavator to just, remove the manure. You can see right down here, trying to remove the manure. This is the manure over here, you can see it, yeah? So trying to remove the manure and gather it together. The excavator has been helping us with that. Again, this is the empty poultry house. This is where the cattle stay. So the cattle have already gone to graze, because they love to graze very, very early in the morning. And then that over there is the goat area. So let's get over there. You can see the excavator right there, right? Let me try to zoom in. Okay, there we go. That's the excavator. It's doing some piping work. We're supposed to do some piping to bring water from the end. You can see a tank at the very end, those ends. That's a chicken house at the end. We have two 10,000-liter tanks, and they're going to be supplying the majority of the farm. We're going to put more tanks over there. And here we have the goat manure that we get from the goat shed over here. So let's get in. Whew. Guys, so here we are inside the goat house, inside the goat shed. And of course, as you can see, we are still using the same exact structure that we were using before. And it's because the goat house that we are building is not yet ready. Of course, we would have loved to get it ready and go into our state-of-the-art goat shed, but we can't afford to do that because there's too much going on and we need to concentrate on the more important things. Of course, not to say that the goat shed is not important, but there are things that are more urgent that we have to work on right now, especially with the poultry. So because of that, we cannot move into that goat shed. But this can work in the meantime. You can't say that because we don't have a state-of-the-art goat shed, we cannot use this. No, it's not a terrible one. It's not very bad. Of course, it doesn't probably meet the perfect standards that are required for goats currently, because it's not, for example, raised. But again, most people in the world are not keeping goats raised. Most of them are keeping them on the floor. So we would want to get there, but we're going to get there very, very soon. But in the meantime, we can keep the goats here, and that will help us to try to feed the hungry people out there in the world, because lots of people don't have food. We're going to say we're going to stop keeping goats and we shall not feed people simply because we don't have a raised house. And that takes me to the number one reason why you should become a farmer, why you should start a farm. Now, the world population keeps increasing very exponentially. For example, us here in Uganda, in 2004, our population was about 21 million. Currently, we are in 2022 and our population is probably about 50-something million. It has more than doubled in less than 20 years. That's very exponential. And I have seen people struggle with hunger in my country. I'll tell you a story. You see, not so long ago, in my working days as a medical doctor, there was this lady who came to the hospital. She came to seek a service. And while interacting with her, I discovered that she was 29 years old and she had 9 children. Yes, you heard me right. 9 children at 29 years old. And that simply means that this lady was producing a child. She was delivering almost every 1.5 years consistently for 9 children. And I was like, oh my God. Now, of course, producing 9 children is not a problem. If you're Bill Gates and you have too much money and you can handle all the children, it's perfect. It helps increase the world's population. You could get maybe 8 or 9 of those people being very, very productive and changing the world very greatly. But the problem is that she was really poor. She was so poor that at the end of me giving her the service, that was probably at about 5-6 p.m., this lady asked me for 500 Ugandan shillings. And so I was asking her, what is 500 Ugandan shillings going to do for you? And she told me, I need to go and feed my children. I was like, the 9 children? She was like, yes, the 9 children. And I was thinking, whoa. Guys, in case you're wondering and thinking how much 500 Ugandan shillings is worth, in terms of US currency, that's maybe 25 cents. No, wait, it's less than 25 cents. Maybe 22 cents. Something like that. So imagine having 9 children and you're using 22 cents to feed them. Now I know what you might be thinking. Hey, Dr. Daniel, I thought you're in Uganda. You're in the tropics. It rains over there like almost every day. The place is green. There's lots of sunshine. You guys should have lots and lots of food. You couldn't be further away from the truth. It's true we have all this weather, but we have a lot of hunger in the country too. Lots and lots of hunger. You see, I asked this woman, how come doesn't your husband provide for you? And she told me, you see, here for us in Africa, we have what we call polygamy. I know it's very common, at least in Uganda. I know in other parts of Africa too, but I've seen it firsthand in Uganda. And so this man had this lady, produced his 9 children with her, and then abandoned her, went and got another woman. He's probably going to do the same and then move on to the next. So she's left there with 9 children to look after, and no proper job. Whatever she makes, certainly is simply to feed the children. It's not enough to feed the children. Now that's proper hunger and that's proper poverty. And in you joining us to become a farmer all around the world, you could contribute very, very greatly in reducing these problems. You see, you might be thinking, hey, if all of us become farmers, then there literally won't be any money in farming. You see, the advantage is that if we become farmers, and there's lots and lots of you guys becoming farmers, just like I am a farmer, it means the cost and the price of food goes low because we have more. I don't know if we'll ever have a surplus, honestly, but at least we have enough. So the cost goes lower, the more food that's grown. So it will be advantageous, even the people who earn really, really, really little will be able to afford food. They'll be able to feed their families. They'll be able to feed the exponentially growing population in the world. So it doesn't matter if you're growing food for yourself at home. That simply means that there's more food in the market for other people to buy, because you are not going to go to the market to buy food for your family, You're going to feed from what you have at your home, and then you're going to have the market just enjoying and, trying to serve the people who are not able to grow their own food. All right, let's first take a small walk around and look at the animals. Most of them are resting, as you can see. They are resting on the floor. The floor hasn't been cleaned. You can see the manure on the floor. Lots and lots of droppings, lots of droppings. Like I told you guys, when they get collected, they get dropped outside there, and after some time we pick them up with a damper and go and put them somewhere where we can use them in the gardens. So right here you can see we have lots and lots of goats and sheep. Goats and sheep. This is the trough where they drink their water from. So we put their water inside here, and then right there that you can see that there's some goats and sheep feeding on salt. That salt, it has sodium chloride. So it provides the minerals that they need. They just go and keep leaking it. So we put it over there. They leak it as they need to. Very, very important for their growth. Again, this is the shed. Down, we have just maram on the floor. You can see these two, they are breastfeeding. One of them is certainly stealing. I'll zoom in. You see that? That is the younger one. This is certainly way older. The one on the left is older. The one on the right is younger. I think the one on the right is the right child, because you can see that the mother has been smelling her back. She doesn't know that this one has been stealing the milk. If she noticed, she would turn and knock her away immediately. And this is a very common occurrence in animals. They love stealing each other's milk. That's okay though. If they are stealing it and they don't have an issue with it, no problem. Over there's another kid that's stealing. It's quite hard to see. I saw a very tiny lamb that doesn't seem very fine. Maybe it's just enjoying the sun. Let me move to the lamb. Over here is the lamb. Oh, this is the lamb, guys. This is a newborn. This is probably 3 days old. You can see it's trying to suck on my finger. It thinks there's some milk there. Oh, it's really tiny. This might be 2 or 3 days old. I think he's fine. He's just very tiny and weak, and he's just enjoying the sun. Let's see if we can get him to stand. Him or her. Okay, stood up and moving away. Moving away. That's a lamb. Yeah, so we have more of the goats and the sheep over here. They are free, just enjoying themselves. Of course, if I move towards them, they'll stand up and get moving, enjoying themselves. They don't want me to get very close to them. It's beautiful, guys. Yeah, so currently we have at least 700 goats and sheep. 700. That's a very beautiful number, isn't it? And one thing I've noticed after a long time of spending time inside the goat and sheep house is that the goats generally love to spend most of their time on the higher altitudes of the area. So you'll find them at the raised place like this ant hill over here, and the sheep don't mind spending their times on the lower places. So most of the sheep concentrate down and most of the goats concentrate on the upper section of the goat shed. And that takes me to the second reason why I think everyone on earth should have a farm. It is therapy. You see, since I started doing some form of work to earn money, I've done quite a few different things, you know, to try to get money and put it in my pocket. And honestly, of all of them, farming is the most therapeutic that I've got. You see, the relief, the feeling, the thought of moving around and just looking at the animals, you know, trying to feed them. Now, for example, the goats and the sheep, we don't literally feed them. Someone is just moving around after midday. You know, the goats and the sheep get fed after midday because in the morning they never love it. They never love to feed on grass that has dew on it. They want dry grass. So they move out to feed at around midday or 1/2 midday. And you're just moving around them to guide them to make sure they're not eating the crops, or sitting by somewhere looking at the geese feeding, looking at the chickens feeding. Oh my God, it feels really good and relieving. Interacting with people is awesome. Interacting with people is a good thing. But there is something about being away from human beings, being away from the stress of town life, being away from people, and just moving around with the cattle, you know, looking at a calf, or doing some milking, looking at a goat, you know, breastfeeding, or looking at a lamb stealing milk from a sheep that's not their mother, and just looking at how the animals behave. It is really relieving and therapeutic. And by the way, just in case you're enjoying the video, hitting that subscribe button would be therapeutic for me. Of course, for me right now, farming is more than just being on the farm and looking after the animals. No, I have to look after my clients too. I have to talk to you guys. I have to sit down and respond to emails. I need to sit down and respond to YouTube comments. But then that's also a very beautiful aspect of what I do. Reading you people's emails, responding to a few people who have issues, responding to YouTube comments, seeing how you've been inspired by the channel. Oh my God, it's really beautiful, and it gives me more reason to keep doing what I'm doing. But despite all the joy and the happiness that brings me, there's nothing compared to what I feel when I'm seated down here and I'm just feeding the animals, feeding the chickens, getting feed out and distributing it to the birds. It's really therapeutic, it's really relieving, it gives so much joy, and it takes away from the stress that you have from any other kind of work. Of course, I'm not trying to say that being a farmer means you need to stop doing everything else that you do. No, I do farming and I'm also doing YouTube. I'm doing lots of other things. I'm doing sales and marketing. I'm doing lots of other things, honestly. But of it all, the times I enjoy the most, actually the times that I do spend on the farm, interacting with the beauty of the farm, you know, just walking around, seeing the huge expanses of land, looking at the wild birds on the farm, sitting by the pond that we have and just enjoying it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Otherwise, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. Lots of love. Bye bye.